So this came down yesterday. I was reading this in the New York Post. Young voters are leaning Republican as Dems try to sell themselves as the cool thing. Yeah, that's a good one. That's, I mean, you got a guy who's literally staring up at the sky at the G7, not clear where he is, and they're trying to make that cool. I mean, that's a tough sell right now. Besides the fact that the policies are, just killing young people, when you talk about rent increases, inflation at large, then that's the guy who's in charge of trying to, look cool right now. I mean, even people pushing 80 are like, that guy ain't cool, John.
I mean, Clinton had the Ray-Bans and the sacks.
Yeah. I mean, Obama was cool, okay? Give that to him. He was cool.
Smooth operator, dressed like the guys in The Killers.
Yeah, Joe ain't cool. Even when, Joe had something going with the Aviators, now he puts them on upside down. I mean, it's like, what are we doing here? So the polling suggests that 18 to 29-year-olds are now a coin flip. Multiple polls here in the last couple of weeks. Siena poll this week showing that among the youngest voting age bracket in the country, that's 18 to 29, Joe Biden has a 2-point lead over Donald Trump. To put that into perspective, back in 2016, Hillary Clinton won the young vote by 19 points. In 2020, Joe Biden won it by 24. New polling shows he's up by 2. Quinnipiac survey, 18 to 34-year-olds, a little bit older, showed Donald Trump up by 1 with registered voters. So this leans into what we talked about a bit yesterday, which is Donald Trump going on this Logan Paul YouTube show and podcast is brilliant. I mean, the guy's got tens of millions of followers, huge social media star, wrestler, the whole deal. He's down at Mar-a-Lago. They dropped this podcast video yesterday, and, I mean, it was a home run for him. Logan Paul, half his audience, per the estimates, are 18 to 24-year-olds, and they lean heavily male. I mean, that's where we're seeing a large growth in this audience in younger males. Part of that is 95.7, but a large part of that, too, is just, where younger males are leaning right now. So it makes sense. So what is the Biden campaign doing to combat that? Well, the New York Post writes here that in almost equal numbers, here we go. Where's the part I want to pick up? All right. Anyone who gets daily messages in their inbox from the Biden-Harris campaign will know how hard they are trying to make voting Democrat cool the young voters. In the past few days alone, this has included direct messages and emails from George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and Jimmy Kimmel. Now, right there, that is showing how out of touch you are. Like, Julia Roberts has not been a big deal in at least 15 years. At least. I mean, they're trying to get to 18 and 29-year-olds, right? That's Gen Z. I'm a millennial in my mid-30s. Julia Roberts is like my mother to me. Mm-hmm. Julia Roberts is not cool. Like, Julia Roberts is cool to washed up, single, divorcee wine moms. Julia Roberts is not cool to 18 to 29-year-olds of either gender. Yeah, there's only 2, sorry. I was looking up her IMDb page to make sure I wasn't missing anything big, but she was the biggest actress, per her Wikipedia, in the 90s, getting $20 to $25 million a movie. I mean, just enormous amounts of money. Highest paid female actress for the 90s. But you go back, I mean, some of her biggest movies, Runaway Bride, 99, Aaron Brockovich, 2000. I mean, these are 25-year-old movies at this point. It's like my dad talks about the late 70s like it was 25 years ago. It's like, Dad, that was,
I can relate.
I know you can, trust me. It's like almost 50 years ago now. I mean, it's like that's not 20 years ago.
Not inside my brain, but exactly. And to your point, I'm like, maybe that's the last time people went to the movies 25 years ago. And so they think, hey, Aaron Brockovich.
It's like, who's running this campaign to think that George Clooney, I mean, ER is 30 years old at this point. And I know he was a big movie star too, but you get the point. I mean, you're trying to reach the young voters. So you break out George Clooney, who now people who are young probably only know as the Casamigos guy. And Julia Roberts, who is at least 15 years from really being relevant in the scene of Hollywood, John.
They've both been replaced by another generation, and we're on to the next one. I think there's like 3 people between them now and the type of person they represent, right? I mean, you're pushing it if you went with Ashton Kutcher or Charlie Sheen for this demo. That's too old. But those guys are, 10 years younger at least?
Give or take.
Sure.
I mean, George Clooney, I'm looking up.
Lady Gaga's replaced the Julia Roberts thing, I think. Whatever the movie was. I didn't see it. But
George Clooney's 63 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here? We got to reach young voters by sending out emails and social media posts from George
boomers.
Clooney. George Clooney, I don't even know if he's a U.S. resident anymore. I mean, I'm sure he's dual citizen, but he's out there in Lake Como in Italy. I'm not sure what he's got to do with, America these days. But, man, let me help you here. I don't really want to help you, but, I could give you at least a little advice. How do we reach 18 and 29-year-olds? I know. Julia Roberts and George Clooney. Meantime, Trump's going where they are. Logan Paul, YouTube, 23 million subs. TikTok, 18.5 million followers. That's where it's at, Hate to break it to you, Pops. It ain't 1999 anymore.
Come on, man.
Whether you like it or not.